Okay, good evening, students. Can you hear me? So, last week we discussed up to the question number 30, I think. So, that is basically networking part, actually, we discussed. So, under this OSI 7 layers, there are few things you have to remember, actually. Now, what are the key things you have to remember here?
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, we need to discuss from 26th question, sir.
26th.
Yes, sir.
We discussed only 25, ne? Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I think, yeah, we'll discuss on the question of 26. Yes. Now, that is basically for this database related questions. Now, when you take this database management system, the SQL is one of the important thing actually, or structured query language. So under the structured query language, we have to work with these commands. Now, when you take these commands, we want to divide these commands into maybe two categories actually. That is data definition language and data manipulation language. So data definition language is the one which is used to create the database and the tables. So, and data manipulation is actually once you create the database, how you can change the content, that's data manipulation commands. Or that is equal as a DAM, data management language. Now, when you take this commands here, we have create, alter, drop, truncate, and update. You are asking data definition actually. So which one is, which is not the data definitions actually. So remember, create is basically data definition. That is, create the database and create the tables. Like those are data definition language. And once you create it, you have to delete the things or remove the things. That is somewhere the drop. Now, drop also kind of commands that is used to make the work with the data, whatever the tables or database. Therefore, that is also kind of data definition language actually. And alter is actually again once you create a table, once you create a database, you have to make some modification changes to that. Maybe you want to add a column, or you want to remove a column, or you need to add a primary key. Like to do that, actually use the alter commands. Alter command. Truncate also same thing actually. Truncate, what happened? Truncate and the drop are similar actually. But in the drop, we delete the entire table. But truncate will delete on the data, table structure will not be deleted. So that is also data definition. But update, select, insert, delete. There were those commands we call as data definition languages, data manipulation languages. So just keep in mind those commands, create command, drop command, alter command, truncate command. Like those are data definition. But insert, select, update, delete. Remember, those are data manipulation commands. So therefore, here the answer is update command is a data manipulation. So therefore, here you're asking which is not the data definition is update. So then basically remember the two types of commands, data definition language command and data manipulation language command. So under definition, we have to have the create, drop, alter, truncate. And then data manipulation, select, insert, update, delete. So therefore, here the answer is update. Is it clear? So just keep in mind those two types of commands actually. Then the next question is frequency modulation. Which of the following is not correct? Now we know that there are three modulations: frequency modulation, amplitude modulation, and the phase modulations. So in frequency modulation, we are changing the frequency, and in amplitude modulation, we are changing the amplitude, and phase modulation, we are changing the phase. So always keep in mind the frequency modulation, frequency will be changed. In amplitude modulation, amplitude will be changed, and phase modulation, phase will be changed. So just keep in mind those three actually now. In general, so you can just keep in mind actually what will happen with this calculation. Now, when you take this frequency means basically number of cycles. Now, this modulations is done when you want to send the data to another signals actually. So in that case, you want to send an analog signal through a analog data. We want to send through the analog signal. In that case, you use these three modulations. Modulations actually. Now, in the frequency modulations, remember, frequency will be changed. So frequency means number of cycles. Now, when you take a signal, now when you take a signal like this, and when you take a signal like this, so here we have less cycle, here the more cycles. So the second one we call high frequency, first one we call the low frequency. So in the frequency modulation, what happened? The number of cycles will be changed. That is what happened. The height will not be changed. The height will not be changed. Number of cycles will be changed. Frequency modulation. But when you take the amplitude modulation or AM, remember the height of the signal will be changed. So amplitude modulation means now if this is one signal, what happened in the amplitude modulation? What happened is height. The height will be changed like this. But the number of frequency will be changed. Height will be changed. Now, here the amplitude is low, amplitude is height actually. Amplitude is height. So this height will be changed. That is equal to amplitude modulation. And the third one is the phase modulation. The phase modulation starting angle will be changed. The others will not be changed. That means the frequency and the amplitude will not be changed. Now one signal goes like this. The second signal, what happened? The starting angle will be changed when we start somewhere here like this. So this location will be changed here. But the height and the frequency will not be changed. So just keep in mind the difference between those three modulation. Amplitude modulation, frequency modulation, and the phase modulation. So I think you can hear me. So this question is actually what they are asking. Yeah, question number 26. They are asking the frequency modulation, which of the following is not correct? The amplitude will not be changed. In frequency modulation, amplitude will not be changed. Yes, that is correct. The phase will remain as it was previously. Yes, phase will remain as. The period will remain as it was previous. The period means the When you take that is related to the actually frequency. Frequency will be varying in the carrier sequence. So in the frequency relation, it is not correctly. So wavelength will be changed. That is correct. Frequency will be varied. That is also correct. The period will remain as it was. No, period means actually when you take that signal, one equal point, another equal point, the distance. So that's the period actually. This period will not be same. Period will be changed actually because when the frequency change, definitely the wavelength and the period will be changed. So therefore, the answer is third one. Answer is third one. Is that clear? So question number 28. Which of the following only unguided media? So we know that media we have two types, guided media and unguided media, or wired media, wireless media. So those are the two types of media you have. Now you are asking only the unguided media. Unguided means wireless. There are no wires actually. Now we know that definitely fiber optics. Fiber optics means there is a fiberglass cable. Therefore, it is a wired. It's a kind of physical uh, fiberglass is there. Therefore, it is guided media. Coaxial cable also same. Coaxial cables are actually the cable used for the TV antenna. That also have the physical cable. Therefore, that is also wired and again guided media. But microwave, infrared, and radio waves. Now remember these three are wireless or unguided media. So microwave normally used for the satellite communication. Infrared is used for the normally for this remote controllers, wireless mouse, wireless keyboard. Radio waves are used for mainly for Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. Therefore, question number 28 answer is fifth one. Then question number 29, the data will be hidden using different header when it goes to applications layer to physical layer. This process is called as. Now you are asking related to this encoding, decoding, encryption, detection, which is actually. So what should be the answer? So here we are asking data will be hidden using the different header. When it goes from application, it is going to for laptop. Now remember what is encoding. So encoding, decoding is used with the code. Now one example for encoding is actually the ASCII and Unicode, where we can use them to represent the codes for the characters. Now, when you take this ASCII, Unicode, like these are some coding techniques. Exactly, the ASCII is used to represent the codes for the characters. Now, you know that computer cannot understand the characters. So therefore, in ASCII, what they did was they have given a number. Now, capital A is 65, capital B is 66, like that, and simple A is 97, like that. Each character is given a code. So this is because computer cannot understand these characters. Then the people will think in some methodology to represent these characters. For that, they have given a number for each character. Because computer will expect everything in numbers. Okay, therefore in ASCII, each character is given. Now remember ASCII has used 7 bits. initially. That means it was there with 2 to the power 7 symbols, 2 to the power 7 codes actually. That is approximately 128 codes. So this code is enough actually for represent all the English language characters and special characters. So, but later you know that we have to represent the Sinhala language, Tamil language. In that case, ASCII was not enough. Therefore, nowadays, you know, the encoding technique are using the Unicode. Unicode. Then Unicode has 16 bits per symbol. Therefore, there will be to cause 16 symbols, which is equal to 65,536. So therefore, I'm using Unicode. That is actually coding. Encoding, decoding is done with this. So just remember now, first half is encoding. So encoding, decoding is this process. Therefore, this is not the answer because they are asking. We hide the content using the headers and trailers from application to physical layer. You're asking what is that? Then the second one is encryption decryption. Now, encryption decryption is a different one. Now, in encryption decryption is used to represent the data of messages in a format the others cannot even understand, especially when you send the data through the network. If somebody has taken my message, they can read my message actually. In that case, this encoding encryption is used to hide the content where we represent the message in different format. So in that case, which is we call as encryptions. So now, as an example, I am sending a message. So I want to send a message to someone to the network. In that case, if someone has taken my message, he or she will be able to read and understand. So at that time, we can use the encryption as example. I want to send a message, let's say, I want to send this message, hello. I want to send this message, hello. So if you send this as it is, if someone has taken my message through the network, because I'm sending my message through a public network. So you are sending a message through the internet. In that case, if someone has taken my message, he or she will be able to read and understand. In that case, we can use kind of encryption techniques so that they are unable to read this one actually. So in that case, we can use the key. Key is a number actually. So mathematical number. Now, as an example, I'm using the alphabetical characters where the key, I just say the key is equal to 2. As an example, key is equal to 2. The meaning of the key is equal to 2 means now alphabetical characters here are A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, like that. Okay. Now the key is equal to 2 means in that encryption key, this encryption key 2. Key is equal to 2 means actually this one you can take plus 2. The meaning is I'm shifting the each character by 2 characters. Now for the A, I can use the C because I am replaced by 2 characters. A means C and B means D and C means C. D means A, like that. So that is the meaning of K is equal to 2. So in that case, when I take this message, this is a message I want to send. But what I will do is I will encrypt this. I will encrypt this message using the key equal to 2. So I want to encrypt this message using the key equal to. In that case, H. Remember, H means you write what? J. E means I write what? G. So E means you write G. L means you write N. and O means right queue. So then you can see if someone take my message, he or she will read this one, not this one. So that is called as a encryption. Similarly, when this message with the receiver must do the decryption. So that is kind of techniques are used to protect our data. So that is we call as the encryption. So therefore, it is also not the answer here. Okay. So in this one, actually, what you are going to do is it always has 7 layers. When it's come to each layer, now you need to remember the 7 layers. So I think you can understand this process. Now, remembering always has 7 layers. In bottom, we have the physical layer. And then you have the development layer. Then you have the network layer. And then transport layer. And then session layer. And presentation layer. The application layer. So those are the 7 layers we have. Remember, physical layer, data link layer, network layer, transport layer, session layer, presentation layer, application layer. Now for this, I give example to remember this. P means please, D means do, N means not. Please do not. P means throw, S means sausages, P means pizza, A means sorry. So that you also can remember. Please do not throw sausages, pizza away. Using that also can remember this example to remember the voice assembly order, because this is very important. Now, these are the 7 layers we have in OSS 7 layers. Now, by having these layers, actually each layer works independently and each layer has a different task to complete. Now, this layer artifact is very important actually because each layer will hand over the task to next layer. Next layer will do something and send to the next layer. Like each layer works independent and each layer has a separate task. But each upper layer will not see what is done by the other layers. They just pass the layer by layer and finally come to the bottom layer. It is same as when you submit the letter to the post office, you know that once you submit the letter to the post office separately. Once you hand over the letter to the post office, we don't go and see how are they going to send the letter to the destinations. So we don't care how are they going to make the grouping or how are they going to do the packaging. We don't see that. You just hand over the letter to the post office, that's all. Similarly, each layer will hand over the task to the next layer responsible for their task. And we don't go and interfere to the post office and see how are they going to manipulate our letter and send to the destination. That is their responsibility to send the letter to the destinations. Same as here. Each layer has a different responsibilities, but upper layer will not interfere to the other layers, but they just go to each layer one by one. Now, in that case, when someone send a message, okay, when the application send a message with some data, what happens? Application will add a header and send to the next layer, and next layer add another header and send to the next layer, and that layer will add another header and send to the next layer, like this. So each layer, what it does, it will add a header and close it and send to the next layer. Just like when you send to the, when you have given the letter to the post office will collect the letters together and then they put in another box and then label it and send to the next location. Next function will collect it together, put it in another box. So something like that. Each layer will add some header and close it. Remember this process we call as encapsulation. So each layer will add the header and signature. Only the later layer will add the header and trailer both together. So this process, adding some layers and close the content or hide the content, we call as encapsulation. So therefore, here the answer is encapsulation. And reverse process, when it goes to destination, each layer will remove one by one. And until the application can see the message. IQ send the letter to the post office, it goes to different box. And once it comes destination, maybe you are sending letter to Australia. Once it's go to the Australia, what happened? They want to remove that box one by one and then send to the correct location. And only the receiver can open it and see the message. Similarly, when you put into the boxes and send to the next layer, the receiver will remove each part one by one until you get the message. So that process we call as the demultiplexing. So therefore, for this one, answer is, remember, answer is encapsulation. In question number 30, again read the OSI 7 layers. Now remember these things. This physical layer devices are actually the hub. Hub is working on the physical layer. And switch is working with the dynamic layer. And router is working on the network layer. Remember those layers and which devices are there. Hub is working with the physical layer, switch is working with the dynamic layer, router is working with the network layer. Just keep in mind. And remember, each layer will use some numberings. Now, dynamic layer use the MAC characters, which is 48 bits physical address. Physical layer will not use any addresses actually. And this layer will use the IP address. Then this layer will use the IP address. If it is version 2 bits, if it is version 650 bits. Remember that. Network layer will use the IP address. The version 4 32 bits, version 6 120 bits. And then we will use a MAC address, meaning access control address, which is 48 bits. Physical layer will not use any addresses. That is why hub, this hub is broadcast a message to everybody because hub doesn't know to where it will be sent because physical layer no addresses are available. So therefore, hub is not intelligent, hub is not using addressing. Therefore, hub will send a message to everybody. Just keep in mind, hub will send a message to everybody. Then, but definitely the switch can find the destination based on the MAC address. And the router can find the destination, the IP address. So therefore, they are not broadcasting. Just keep in mind actually. And in addition to that, in OSI 7 layers, remember, you need to know that this dynamic layer will connect the each devices, network devices like router and the router and the switch. Like these connections are made using the MAC campus. So therefore, always keep in mind the dynamic layer is the one which will connect each network device together. So therefore, the dynamic layer, the responsibility is to connect router connection or router to switch connection or network device to network device connection. Some easily we call as a hop-to-hop connections. Remember that is done by the dynamic layer. But this network layer, remember the network layer will connect source and destination computers. Source means sender, destination means receiver, using the IP address. So then connecting the source and destination machine or starting machine and the receiving machine are connected by the IP address. Remember the transport layer, we use the port number, which is normally 16 bits. port number. So that's the number used by the transport layer, port number. Remember, that is used to connect the application in one machine, application on the machine. So remember that connection, application to application connection, or process to process connection is done by the transport layer using what number? Port number. So then you have to understand each process. Router connection or router to switch connection or network shares network device connections are done by the data link layer using MAC address. And the source and destination machine or sender and receiver machines are connected using the IP address. That is in the network layer. And once the source and destination is connected, each machine has some processors or applications. So application to application connection or process to process connection done by the transport layer using the port number. So then here the question is, in OSI network layer, host to host. Term host to host means machine to machine or source to destinations. Term machine to machine source to destination is done by the network layer using what? IP address. So therefore, here the answer is network layer. I think it's clear to you all. If you have questions, you can ask always. Yeah, 29th is answer is actually encapsulation. Encapsulation. That means when it is go to one layer to another layer, header will be added and hide the content. So that process is called as encapsulation. But once it is go to destination, material will remove each one by one. That is for the deconfiguration. Therefore, the 29 answer is encapsulation. Question 30, host to host. Host to host means machine to machine. Or source to destination is done with the network layer using the IP address. Okay, next one. And again, remember, in transport layer, TCP and UDP is done. In transport layer, remember TCP and UDP. These are the protocols in TCP and UDP. Remember, TCP is a transmission control protocol. It's a very reliable protocol. So therefore, to provide the reliability, it has used many algorithms. Therefore, TCP is very slow. But UDP is a user data protocol which is very fast but very unreliable. It doesn't use any reliability related algorithms. Remember, TCP UDP runs the transport layer. Network layer main protocols are IP and ICT. These protocols are running in the network layer. And remember the application layer, we have basically application layer, we have the HTTP and DHCP and SMTP, like those protocols and FTP, and those are running the application layer. Application is specific protocols. So just keep in mind those are the OSI7 layers. So just keep in mind regarding the and again, I am planning to start another lessons or another class to revise the lessons by lessons. As you know, you have only 4 months. So within 4 months, I'm going to revise all the sections from the beginning. So I just start the revision class to revise all lessons from the sketch or from the beginning, so that you can get the good knowledge and understand the content. So at the same time, we do the paper class because doing the papers are very important. But I have shared another paper. Please complete that paper also before come to the class, so that you can check your knowledge and your status. Now, next question is we have a number with the binary part and the fraction. So then how do you calculate this? Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 ones are there. So you can calculate this part separately. And this is 1, this is 2, this is 4, this is 8, this is 16, this is 32. You can add them together 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. And you can add them together. 32 plus 16 is 48, 48 plus 56, 56, 60, 63. So that number is 63. So then you can see first part is 63. Now the fraction is some decimal point, you have 1 and 1. Remember this you can calculate easily. How do you do? You can use the same method. That means 1, 1, 1, 1 means 3. 1, 1 means 3. How many bits are there? 1, 2. Then 2 to the power 2, 4. 3 by 4. The answer is 63. 63, 3 by 4. So that means 63 point. 3 by 4 means 75. 63.75. Answer is 5th part. Remember, when you given a question with the decimal point, this is how you do the calculation. As an example, if you are given a question with decimal point, okay, if you have a decimal point 0, 1, 1, what is the answer? Remember 1, 1 means 3. How many bits are there? 1, 2, 3. 2 to the power 3 is 8. Or if you are given a question with decimal point 0, 0, 1, 1. Remember 1, 1 means 3. How many bits are there? 1, 2, 3, 4 to the power 60. This is how you calculate it. When the fraction is given, you can easily calculate. Now, if you have an example, let's say 0.101. If 101 means decimal 5, how many bits are there? 1, 2, 3. 2 to the power 3 is 8. So you can easily calculate the fraction line. So I assume you can understand it. Okay. Next question. Which of the following is not true about the get and post method form in a form? Now remember, in HTML, when you're using the form tag, we have two attributes in form tag. One of the attributes, one is action. And you can write ICT and method. In this method, you can write either get or the post. Remember in this place, either you can use a get or you can use a post method. One of them can be used. So in forms, now in HTML, in the revision class, I will explain this thing from this sketch. In the form, why I use the forms in HTML? Remember, you use the forms to collect some data. Now, when you are joining to an institute, they just give you a form to fill. Why are they giving the forms to fill? Because they want to collect some data. Same meaning is here. Normally, use the forms to collect some data to the web format. So, web page, they want to collect some data. To collect data, use the forms. In that case, when you are using the forms, you have to have the two attributes, action and method. Now, what is action? Action means, now let's say you fill the form. We have a name and like your form like this. After you fill the forms, let's say there is a submit button. A submit button. So what happened? You fill this form and you click the submit button. Then when you click the submit button, the data you have filled in the form must be saved in a database or must be sent to another page. Some action should be taken. So that is what is defined by this term action. That means when you click the submit button, this action part will indicate what action to be taken. So that is the purpose of this action actually. When you fill the forms, when you submit the data, we want to take some action. Action is defined here. Okay, this action is defined. So that is the one which will be executed when you click the submit button. So then keep in mind, this action is the one which is there in the form. And the method. The method, remember, can be as given here. The method can be get method or post method. Get method or post method. Now the difference is that normally get method is not good when you are sending the data which has some sensitive information like username and password. Let's say have a form to get the username and password. In that case, we should not use the get method. Why we should not use the get method? If I using sensitive data, then in the get method, when you click submit, in the URL, someone can see the username and password you have entered. In the submission URL, this username and password is visible. And there's a limitation of the size of the data you can send. Therefore, get method is not recommended. If you have some sensitive data, if you want to send large amount of data, this get method is not good. Why it is not good, get method? Your data, if it is sensitive, like example, username and password. If you are submitting username and password through get method, in the submission URL, other people can see your username and password. That's the issue. But the post method, that will not be occurred. Post method is good. You can send the sensitive data that are not visible through the URL. And there's no size limitation of the number of characters you can send. But only problem with the post is you can't add the bookmarking. You know, you can add the bookmarking to come back to the page again. So that cannot be done with the post method. That can be done with the get method. So that's the main difference you should remember in the get and the post method. So in here, post method parameters are not saved in the browser history. Get method, the pages cannot be bookmarked. Now you are asking which is not true. In get method, the pages cannot be bookmarked. No, pages can be bookmarked. In post method, it is more difficult to hack. Yes. In post method, there is no data length restriction. Yes. In get method, is more secure. No, get method is in the get method is the more secure than the post method. No, not really actually. That is wrong. Yeah, the second one is correct actually. In the get method, pages can be bookmarked. Yes, the answer is fifth one. Answer is fifth one. So I assume you can understand the answer. Then the next question, consider the following CSS code. CSS code, cascade style sheet code. Now you can see this has the paragraph with the dot operator. So in the paragraph, we have the center. So in that case, we are calling for the paragraph actually what you are doing. So the idea here is that now you can see here we have something like internal actually. This is internal CSS file. So in that case, actually, it indicates P dot. You can see clearly. We have P dot center. Yeah. So we have something like here P dot center. And the styles. Now, what are the styles? Text align. Text align center. Color is red color. So those are the two styles we have for the paragraph. So in that case, in the body, we call the heading 1 class center. But in heading 1, we have not defined the class. But paragraph, we define the class as center. Therefore, only for the paragraph, test 2 will be appeared in center line and color should be red color. So then you can see the answers are we are asking which is not correct. This represents the class selector for the paragraph. Yes. Normally use a dot. When we use a dot, it is called as a class selector. Class selector. Just keep in mind the class selector. If you use a hash, that is ID selector. Just keep in mind. If you have the dot, class selector. If you have the hash, that is ID selector. This represents the class selector for the paragraph and not for the heading one. Yes. This class selector is only for the paragraph. This is for the paragraph, not for the heading one. That is also correct. It will display the test 2 word, center line, and rectangle color. Yes, that is also correct. Test 1 will be displayed as heading 1, but not center line and red color. Yes, that is also correct. Because test 1 is a heading 1. Heading 1 we have not defined its time. Test 1 will be displayed as center line red color. No, test 1 will not be center line because it is heading 1. We don't apply any style for the heading 1. We apply the heading only for the paragraph. So the answer is 5th one. So if you have doubts, you can ask at any time. Okay, now the next one is which of the following is not correct regarding the big data. Now I think you know about something about the big data. So basically, big data means the very large number of data which is moving through the network or some application. As an example, this amount of data is very large, very big, so that we cannot process using the normal computers. With the normal computers, you can't process this data, which is we call as a big data. As an example, WhatsApp. How many messages you are sending? How many videos you are sharing? How many photos you are sharing? It's a very big amount of data. And Facebook or social media. So people are sending billions of records, billions of text messages, and images, audio file, video file. It's a terabytes of data which is moving through per second. So that's a very huge amount of data which cannot be processed by normal machines actually. We have to use a specialized machine with some specialized algorithm to process them or analyze them. So that is equal as sometimes big data analytics. It's a kind of big area actually nowadays. Why this big data is very important? Remember, we can make very accurate predictions. Very simple example, nowadays you can see the weather forecasting. Not like early days actually. I'm not sure early days whether you can remember. When we were child actually, when the weather forecasting department says tomorrow you are going to have raining, we know that definitely we are not going to have raining. So something like that, they are not accurate actually. They are not accurate. But now you can see weather forecasting information are very accurate. They just tell you tomorrow you're going to have raining, definitely you have the raining. The other countries will do very precise, accurately. They will just tell you the location and the points where they are going to have the raining at the time also. Very exactly, they will tell you the time you are going to have the raining. How that has happened? Because this big data analytics actually. Because now you can collect large amount of data in the weather forecasting through the sensors. And this data can be analyzed. Very large amount of data can be analyzed, can see a patterns, and then make a predictions. These predictions are very accurate. That is why now this AI, most time these AI technologies are coming because of this machine learning techniques, like GPT and other tools are mainly working in this technologies actually. They do the machine learning methods. Basically they use the big data analytics. So then here the question is, we are asking which is not correct. The data is stored in the social media as an example of big data. Yes, that's correct. Big data can be stored in the form of structured, unstructured, semi-structured form. Yes, that means the big data, the data can be structured or semi-structured or unstructured. Now, if you take a message they are sending through the Facebook or WhatsApp, there's no any structure at all. Actually. You may write in the different format. There's no structure at all. So that is basically unstructured things you are sending. That is the answer for the 33. 33 answer is actually last one. test 1 will be displayed as a certain. No, test 1 is heading 1. So heading 1 is not used any style. Therefore, answer is 33. So then next one is the data. Remember, it can be structured data, unstructured data, or semi-structured data. So then remember, unstructured data is simple example is the message you are sending through the Facebook, WhatsApp. No structure at all. Actually, you just send in different format, different structure, no structure at all. But the data that I stored in a database, kind of structured data actually, which has a different meaning and different columns with specialized data types, which has a full defined structure. So therefore, second one also correct. Then third one, big data can be improved customer service and better decision making are few advantages of big data. Yes, you can make a very good decision making can be done. Better decision making can be done. That's correct. MongoDB and NoSQL are example for big data database. Most of the big data is structured. Therefore, big data analytics is not complex. No. MongoDB and NoSQL are example big data database correct. Most of the big data is structured. Therefore, big data is not complex. No. Big data analysis is very complex actually. Answer is fifth one. Answer is fifth one. I think it's correct. Is that clear? So the next question, which of the following is not correct regarding the new trends in ICT? Now is new sentence, new trends in ICT. One example is quantum computing. Now, what are the things you should remember the quantum computing? Remember that's the idea of quantum theory or quantum physics, where they expect special bits. Now in our computer, you have only 2 bits, 1 and 0, only 2 states. But in the quantum computer, they specified special bits called as a qubits. So that is actually not a normal state. It's a kind of super state. It's a kind of super state. They define a super state. Remember, when something is super state, it can do something which cannot be done in the normal state. Now, as an example, we know that once the human do this meditation, our mind can go to super state. So we expect when someone have done a concentration of the mind using their meditation-like techniques, they can do something which cannot be done by the normal person. And they can do something which is unbelievable actually. Something can be done. There are people like that. They can make the mind concentration and then do the meditations. They can do something which cannot be done by the normal person. Similarly, here they define a super state. Once you have the super state, what happens? Computer can do something very fast. That means large amount of terabytes can be processed within a few seconds. And very complex problem can be solved, or large amount of data can be processed very fast. So that's the idea behind this quantum computing. So in quantum computing, when the system is in the super state, it can process terabytes of data in few nanoseconds. Yes, that is correct. That's the idea of quantum computing. The second one is a nature-inspired computing, or sometimes we call as a bio-inspired computing. Now, what is the meaning of this nature-inspired computing or bio-inspired computing? Remember, now when people are developing or designing the new things or new systems, what they did was they have analyzed the biological things or they have analyzed the natural things. As an example, when these people are developing aeroplanes, they have studied how the birds are flying. That means they have studied the natural things, the biological things. At the same time, when the people want to develop the AI, artificial intelligence, what they did was they have analyzed our brain and they wanted to simulate our brain because they assume if you can simulate the same thing in the brain in a machine can also think. Similarly, when you want to develop new machines or new systems, we always study the natural things or biological things. That is we call as a nature-inspired computing. So therefore, the second one in nature-inspired computing, the complex systems can be modeled by studying. It should be studying actually the natural object. Yes, that's correct. Second one. Then the third one is the agent systems. Who is the agent? Remember, agent, he means here the software systems. Here agent means software. So normally in general, agent is a person who does our tasks on behalf of us. So when I want to do something, I can hire the agent and I can hand those tasks to him and he will do my task on behalf of me. That's called the agent. So here we are discussing the software agents. In that case, you can handle some tasks to software agent. He or she can, that system software agent can do the things that you want. So multi-agent means this task can be done by the multiple agents, not only one agent, so that your task can be completed very faster in the multi-agents. So that is the idea behind the agent actually. Now here they are saying that the multi-agent systems are autonomous. Autonomous means without human involvement, they can make the decision by themselves. That's called autonomous. Yeah, that's correct. Autonomous. Self-adjusted. Yes, it should be able to make the changes based on the environment changes. They have to make some changes. Yeah, that is also correct. Third one on the one. Multi-agents can perform only predefined tasks. No. Multi-agents should be able to do some tasks that are not predefined. They should be able to take their own decisions. The emotional computing, really this emotional computing is this one. That is, the computer can understand the human emotions. Okay. This emotional computing idea is that the computer can understand the emotions. Now, as an example, emotion means sometimes people will be happy or sad or angry, right? Different moods are there. The computer can detect whether you are happy, whether you are angry, whether you are sad, can be detected. How? Based on the facial expressions, or based on the message you are sending, based on the post that you are publishing, based on the image you are publishing. So computer can analyze that actually and determine whether you are in happy mood or sad mood or angry mood, which is equal as emotional computing. Yeah, the computer can detect our emotions. So that is the fifth one, the emotional computing. The system can detect human emotions and react accordingly. Yes. So therefore, here the wrong answer is fourth one. The agent can perform only predefined tasks. No. Okay, then the question number 36. What is the network command that can be used to get the IP address and the port number of the connections? Now remember, we have different commands here. First one is a pin command. So these commands actually you could know definitely you will get some questions in the exam paper. Now really this pin command is a command which you can use to check the network connectivity. Whether my computer and the computers are connected. In that case, what should I do in my DOS prompt? I can use this command pin and provide the IP address. Provide the IP address of the other machines like this. Once you given this command, run this command by giving the IP address of the other machines. Or remember, you can give the domain name. If it is a domain name, if you have domain name, you can use domain name like this. That has to be anywhere. So you can do domain name like this. So you can do that. Remember, when you do this command, what it does, it will send the 4 packets. 4 packets to the other side. And once we send the 4 packets to the other side, we must get the reply if the other side is available. Remember, if the other side is not available or network cable is broken, I don't get the replies. So this pin command, what it does, you send the 4 packets and wait for the reply. If you get the reply, that means other machine is available and the network cable is working correctly, no issues. But once you send these packets for packets, if you don't get the replies, your packets are lost. That indicates either the machine is not working or network cable is broken. So that is how the pin command is used. And the pin command, you can get the, you can check the network connectivity. So that is working with protocol named as ICMP. This is a protocol used by the pin command to get the network errors. Network errors are written by this ICMP protocol. That is one of the command. Host command, in the host command is given to get the machine's name, host machine name. You can use host command. Then if config, so IP configs. Remember, we have two commands, if configs. Those are simple letters. If config, which is running in the Linux or Unix. IP config. IP configs running in the Windows. These are network commands. Then these commands you can use to get the network configurations like IP address version 4, version 6, and subnet mask, default gateway, like those information you can get using the IP configuration command. This IP IF configs running the Linux or Unix. IP configs running the Windows. Yeah, these are the commands you can use to get the IP configuration. Basically, other machine IP address you can get using this version 4 and version 6, both you can get. And subnet mask you can find, and default gateway you can find using this command. Then NS lookup, remember there's another command called as the NS lookup. Then this command basically you can use to get the domain names to IP address. Once you have the domain name, you can get the IP address with the NS lookup. And the last one is net state. This is also an important command. What is that? Net state. And this is the command which you use to get the network statistics, network connection details. So this command can be used to get the my IP address and my port number in the connection. Other machine IP address and other machine port number. Because when you take a connection between my computer and the computer, remember there are 4 components. That is my IP address and my port number. Other side computer IP address and port number. Like there are 4 components, right? Those 4 details you can get the net state command. That is my IP address and the destination machine IP address. My port number and the destination port numbers. Like all the network connection details, you can get this command called as a NS net state command. Okay. Okay. Next question. On the paper I have shared with you all. If you want this hard copy of the paper, just let me know. I can give you the paper. Okay, next one. The server which can be used to cache web pages and log the some website access in the organization. Okay, let's see what are these. DHCP. What is DHCP? DHCP is a server which can assign the IP address dynamically. That is DHCP, Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. So that one basically used to share the IP address. Otherwise, we have to give the fixed IP address. So therefore, to solve that one, to dynamically assign the IP address to the machines, we can use a DHCP. That's the server. So what is the advantage of DHCP? Remember, if someone is not using the internet, that IP address can be given to another person. That means basically IP address can be shared. That's the main advantage of the DHCP. So then that is not the server here. Then the DNS server. DNS server is to convert the domain names to IP address. We know each website has domain names, like google.com. But actually the Google is connected using the IP address, not using the domain names. In that case, you have to convert the domain names to IP address. That conversion is done by the DNS service. Firewall is, remember, it's a kind of service, can be a software, can be hardware. So you can always think this. You can always think, remember this firewall just like a security guard in a building. So we know that some building there are security guards. They just look at who is coming, who is leaving. When the people comes to go inside, they just look at whether they are having the permission to access, then only is allowed to access. Like similar tasks done by this firewall. But it can be software format, it can be hardware format. That's the firewall, just keep in mind. Firewall is very similar to security guard in a building. And the web server is the place where the website are hosted. Now, once you do a website, you want to save the websites in somewhere. That's the web server. Then proxy server. Now, this is very important. Proxy server is for what actually? Proxy server mainly to work as a cache. Now, when you are going to access to a web page, what happens? You need to go through the internet and get the web page. So then advantage is once you get that web page to your computer, it will be cached or it will be saved in the proxy server. If someone else wants to use the same website, he or she can use that one from the cache or from the proxy server. That's the one purpose of the proxy actually, to work as a cache. So that if someone access to website, that website details will be saved in the proxy server. So that if another person accesses the same website, you don't need to go to the internet and get the content. That content is already there in the cache. From there you can get it. And again, with the proxy server, remember some websites can be blocked. And if the organization owner wants to see what was done by the employees, what website they have access, that information also can be collected in the proxy server. So therefore, here the answer is proxy server. Thank you so much. Is that clear? I assume if you have any cases, you can ask. Now, the next one, 38, question number 38. Consider the above flip-flops to select the answer which is not correct. Now, if you look at the flip-flops given here, don't memorize anything actually. Don't memorize, in the understanding, do it. Now, we are going to flip-flop. A flip-flop is a memory device. It works as a RAM map. This is the flip-flop you are given. So here in the flip-flop, so always have the Q and Q bar. It should be the same more or less. And here we have the R and S inputs. When the S is 1, R is 1. Now if you look at that. S is 1, R is 1. What happens? When the S is 1, R is 1, what happens? Give me a second to connect the power. Now remember, now this is actually NOR gate. In the NOR gate, you should remember when you have a NOR gate, what you should know. Now, remember this is NOR gate. Whenever you have value 1, when you have the value 1, if this one is 1, I don't need to think what is the other one actually. We know 1 plus something is 1. Therefore, not 1 will be 0. This is what you can decide when the one input is 1. I don't need to think about what is the other one. Because 1 plus 0, 1 plus 1, always 1. The not 1 will be 0. Therefore, to always keep in mind, if the one input is 1, I don't need to understand what is the other input, answer will be only 0. So, if you look at this, when this is 1, I don't need to think about this one. When this is 1, answer will be 0. And when this is 1, I don't need to think what is the other input, the answer will be 0 here. Because this answer will be 0 and 0. Then you can see Q also 0, Q bar also 0, which is invalid. Because if the Q is 0, Q bar should be 1. So therefore, first answer is correct. First answer is correct. Because when the SC is 1, R is 1, invalid. You get invalid. Why invalid? Q also 0, Q bar also 0. That can't be. When the Q is 0, Q bar should be 1. That is point 1. Then first answer is correct. Second answer, if the SC is 0, R is 1, Q is 0. Now you can see if the SC is 0, R is 1. We know that if the R is 1, I don't need to think what is this one, the answer will be 0. It will be 0. You can see this one 0, 0 plus 0, 0, this one is 1, this is 1. If this is 1, 1 plus 1 is 1, not 1 is 0. Therefore, this Q is 0, Q bar is 1. So it says that the C0, R is 1, and the C0 and R is 1, Q is 0. Yes, Q is 0 is correct. Second one also correct. Then if you look at the third one, actually these questions are not difficult. You can just manipulate and then process and do the work. It's not difficult. Now, third one, when the SC is 1, R is 0. SC is 1, R is 0. We know this is 1 means I don't need to think what is the other one here. 1 plus something is 1, not 1 is 0. This is 0. When that one is 0, when this one is 0, is 0. 0 plus 0 is 0, 3 plus 1 is 1. Therefore, third answer also correct. When the SC is 1, R is 0, Q is 1. Yes. Okay. And then if the SC 0, R is 0, so you make that situation. If SC 0, R is 0. So if SC 0, R is 0, what happened? Then if the SC 0, R is 0, what happened? Assume Q is 1. This is 1. This is 1 means this will be 1. 1 plus something is 1, not 1 is 0. This is 0. This 0 means this is 0. 0 plus 0 is 0, not 0 is 1. Therefore, value will not be changed. So therefore, third, fourth answer also correct. Last one, flip-flop cannot be introduced in NAND. No, flip-flop can be developed using the NOR gate or NAND gate. Therefore, 38 answer is fifth one. Then the 39. Question number 39. So that is basically Kana map. Now here you are given the table. This is not difficult actually, Kana map. So we have it here, y is here. And this is 0, this is 1, this is 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0. In that case, remember, this is actually x, and this is x bar. And first one is 0. First one is 0 means these two columns y. 0 means y. And these two columns y. And if it remember, this is 0, therefore this is 0 bar. And this is 1, 1 means is it. And this is 0, Simple. Like this. So then you have 0, 0, 0, 0. Now the question is asking what is the correct Boolean expression for the marked group. Remember they have group zeros. Okay, they have group 0. These two group together, and these two group together, and these two are grouped together. So you have to have the names for this group. Remember, this is the grouping is actually 0. Therefore, the answer should be POS format, product of sum. POS format, not the SOP, because group is done with the zeros. So then, if you look at this group, what's the name of this group? The name of this group is horizontally, it is X bar. It is X bar. When you look at this, it is X bar. X bar has to write X, not the X bar, because it goes by 0. And when you go up, when you come to this direction, it's X bar. When you go up, it is Y bar. Y bar means you write Y with addition. Not the marketing, this is POS. And if you come to go down, and you have to go down, Z and Z bar both comes. We don't write both together, 0. Therefore, the answer is X plus Y. And if you look at this group name, what is this group name? If you take this side, X and X are both from 0 by. When you go up, Y bar means Y. When you go down, Z bar means Z. Therefore, that group is Y plus Z. Okay, Y plus Z. And what's the name of this group? Horizontally, X bar means X. And you can see vertically up Y and Y bar, we can write. Vertically down is Z bar. Z bar means Z. Therefore, answer should be X plus Y, X plus Z, Y plus Z. So, answer is fourth term. Answer is fourth term. So, assume it is clear. Answer should be fourth term. Then, question number 40. Consider the following pseudocode to write the answer for the question 40 to 41. Now, here we have a variable A is 5, totally 0. What happened? It goes A larger than equal 1. That means it runs 5 to 1. That means 1 to 5. That means loop run 5 times. It reads the 5 inputs. Therefore, it runs 5 times. Therefore, it reads the 5 inputs. So, if the input number is positive, we add them as a total. But if it is a negative, total becomes 0. And print the total. Now, the answer is, which is the following is not correct regarding the algorithm. It adds all positive numbers for the first 5 input numbers. It takes only the 5 inputs. Yes, that is correct. It runs only 5 times. Therefore, it takes only 5 inputs. Correct. When a negative number is entered, the total will be 0. Yes, because when the n is negative, total will be 0. That's correct. It resets the total to 0 when the negative number is entered. Yes, that is also correct. The algorithm has sequence, selection, iteration. So yes, the algorithm has a sequence, while loop is there, that is repetition, and the selection is there. Fifth one also correct. So it adds all positive numbers for the first 5 input numbers. When a negative number is entered, the total will be 0. Yes, that's also correct. It resets the total to 0 when the negative number is entered. Yes, that is also correct. So the first half is not correct actually. That's all positive numbers for the first 5 inputs. No, because if the negative number is entered, probably is set to 0. Therefore, it doesn't have all the 5 numbers. So the first one is wrong. If the input array is this, find the output. Now you can see the input array is this 6 minus 2. In that case, you can see 6 is positive to be added. But when you put the minus 2, total becomes 0. Then 8 will be added, but when you put the minus 9, total becomes 0. Then it is 0 and 3. So the answer should be 6 minus 2 is 0. 8 minus 9 is 0. 0 and 3. Answer should be 3. Because whenever every number is added, total becomes 0. Therefore, total should be 3 here. Answer should be 3. Then 42, which is the following is used to convert each line one by one line source code into the machine code when execute each line sequence. Now that is actually, we have two translators, interpreter and the compiler. They are actually translators. What do? They convert high-level languages to low-level. Because as a human, we are using the high-level languages. Example, Java, C, C++, Python, like high-level languages. Why are we using the high-level languages? For us, it is very easy to understand and write the programs. But once you write the programs in Java, C++, Python, Pascal-like language, once you write it, computer cannot understand it actually. So in that case, you have to convert them into the machine code where the machine can understand. So for that, we have the translators. One is the compiler, one is the interpreter. What's the difference? Compiler translate whole code into the machine code by checking the syntax. But the interpreter translate line by line. So in the first line, check whether the syntax are followed and translate and execute. Then take the second line, check whether the syntax are followed and translate and execute. It does the works line by line. But the compiler is not like that. Compiler did the whole program, check the syntax. If there are not syntax, it converts the machine codes so that later you can run it. You don't need to run each line by line. So therefore, the answer is line by line is done by the interpreter. Answer is the interpreter. Then bitwise operators. I have explained the bitwise operators in the previous class. Please refer that recording I have shared with you all. This is study the bitwise operators. Now next one, what is the value of this Python? Now here, what we have 26 divided by 9, get the remainder, and that is divided by 3, get the integer part, and this is actually exclusive O. This is exclusive O. We do the bracketing first. That is 26 divided by 9. That is 9 into 2, 18. How much is remaining? That is 26 divided by 9. And find the remaining. 26 divided by 9. 9 into 2. 18. How much remains? 8. Therefore, then the answer here is actually what? 8. Then 8 divided by 3. And it's supposed to go. Okay. Then 8 divided by 3, how many places are there? 2. So the answer is 2. 2 exclusive 4. So the exclusive, this bitwise operators will give the low priority. This bitwise exclusive O. How do you calculate? 2 means 0, 3. 2 means 1, 0. Okay, 2 means 1, 0. 4 means 1, 0, 0. But then you have to make the exclusive O, we have to put 0 here. Now this symbol is exclusive O. Then you should know the truth table for the exclusive O. What's the truth table for the exclusive O? 0, 0, 1, 0, 1. Again, it's 0, 1, 1, 0. That's the truth table for the exclusive O. You have to remember the exclusive truth table to make the calculation. Then you can see for the table, 0 and 0 means 0. 0 and 1 means 1. 1 and 0 means 1. That is 1, 1, 0. That is actually 6. 1, 1, 0 means the decimal value of the 1, 1, 0 is 6. So therefore, the answer should be 6. Answer should be 6. Okay. Then let's look at the 44. That is actually regarding the answers. Now, here these are not difficult thing, very easily you can answer those questions. Now, in this question, We have variable A is 10. There's a function. How do you define the function? So keyword def means function. Definition of function. And the function name. The function name. Okay. There should be function name. There should be function name. We have some parameters to pass x and y arguments. And we write a equals x plus 1. B equals y plus 1. And here we have the function call with some parameter 10 and 20. And you print A. Remember, these are function. These are function we have. Remember this A, and that A are equal. They are total actually. Because these variables inside the function, remember, these variables inside the functions, these are we call as local variables. They are not visible outside the function. They are not visible outside the function. Now, in here, if you rather print B, you get an error. Because this A and that B is totally different. This A and that is totally two different things, not the same. This one is a local variable, but this one is a global variable. Which is visible everywhere. That one is visible in everywhere. That's a global variable. But this one is a local variable. They are not visible outside the functions. And one thing you have to remember, this A and that A are two different things. They are not equal. Now, when you call the functions what happens, this will call the functions like this. And 10 and 20 will be mapped here. And then you do the addition here, 10 plus 1, 11. So this will be 11. And this one 20 plus 1 is 21. So then A is 11, B is 21. But remember this A and that is totally different. When you say print A, that will print this A, not the other. Therefore, it will print 10. Should be 10. Okay. This A is not visible. However, remember you can make the equalize this A and that you can equalize if you use the word global. Globally like this. If you do that one, the A here and the A here is same. But here we don't use this word. This is global variable, this is global variable. They are not visible. This one is not visible inside the functions. These are local variable. They are not visible outside. So the answer is A. Should be 10. Okay, question number 45. Now here we have variable A is 90 for I in range. I in range 10, 6 minus 1. That is how you write the function A equals. After finishing the function, we print A. You're asking what is the output here. Now remember, A is finished to 90. The meaning of this one, means that one is this will go 10, start with 10. Reduced by 1, minus 1 means reduced by 1. Here we have the minus 1 means reduced by 1. Yeah, first one is 10 and then 9. Last one is not 6. Remember, last one is not 6, last one is 7. Therefore, 10, 9, 8, 7. So the value I you get. I is 10, I is 9, I is 8, I is 7. So what happens when the I is 10, this will run. They reduced by 10. So A is how much? 90. So A is 90. What happens? I initially equal to 10 and executes and reduced by 10. Then it becomes 80. Then I is equal to 9. So then we'll run this command. Then this will be by 10, 70. Then I is equal to 8. what happened? You reduce by 10, it becomes 60. Then I is equal to 7. So in that case, you reduce by 10, then you become 50. So then you print should be 50. Answer is should be 50. Okay. Then the next one, 46. The scheduler which can swap in and swap out. Remember, we have schedulers in operating system. Remember, initially, our program find the hard disk. The program that you run, they are in the hard disk. The programs that you run, they are located in the hard disk. And we want to load this program from hard disk to memory. So in the man, we want to find a pre-location. Once you do pre-location, load this into the memory. This is done by the long-term scheduler. Long-term schedule is the one which selects the processes from the hard disk and load them into the memory by finding the pre-locations. And from the memory, there's a queue called as a ready queue. From there, we want to select this process to run on the CPU. And from ready queue to CPU selection is done by the short-term schedule. Short-term schedule. So therefore, those two answers are not the answers. Okay. And some instance, remember, the memory will be full. It will be full. When the memory is full, you have to swap out. That means remove the program from the memory and put them into the hard disk, which is equal as swap out. Later, when the memory is available, you have to take them back to the memory, equal as swap in. And the swap out and swap in is done by medium-term scheduler. So the answer is here is a medium-term scheduler. Okay. So there's another one here is the swap out. Swap out also same thing actually. Swap in and swap out is done by same name. But dispatch is a different one. Dispatch is the one which will suspend one process and start another process. That task is done by the dispatcher, which will stop the one process, start another process done by the dispatcher. Okay, then if you go to the next example. So in 47, what happened? There's a tuple actually. This one we call as a tuple T. Then we write with the comma 10, 4, 5, 0, 2, -1, 4, 6, 8. Now these are actually tuple. Tuple means kind of data structure. Here the tuple can't be modified. It's an immutable required. Their content can be changed. Then there's S variable SC0. OI, follow, OI in range. Range function is used, range. What's range? Length T. Length T means here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is at 9. Length 9. This it works. Length sorry, length T means length of the array. That is actually length of the tuple is 9. Then the range 9 means this loop runs 9 times. Range time is loop run 9 times because range 9 means 0, 1, 2, 3 up to 8. 0 to 8 actually range time. Therefore, initially I equal to 0, I equal to 1. Therefore, body of the loop will run 9 times. Just keep in mind. So then what it does, it will check when if Ti. That means you take the when the I equals 0, T0, T0 means 10. Then I equals 1 means T1, T1 means 4. Then T2, T2 means this one. Like remember this each value can be either index number 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It has 1, 2, yeah, 0 to 8. What happened? It will check whether number is negative, remember if it is negative, what it does? If Ti is negative, then rate is loop is over exit. Loop is over exit. Otherwise, else one if they are not negative, at this value this is equal to x plus Ti. That means each positive value will be added. Positive will be added up to the negative number. That means 10 plus 4, 14, 14 plus 19, and it was 21. So therefore it should be 21. Not should be 21 because it adds only the numbers up to the negative number. When it is negative, break. Break means exit the loop. Entering the value. Then what is the name of the data type of the variable t? Now remember this t should be a tuple. T should be a tuple. Remember t should be a tuple. If you have data types like with the square bracket, then it's a list. It's a list. This one is a tuple. Remember tuple you can create like this, or tuple you can create like this also. This also tuple. It's a list. We do the list with the square bracket. And if you have the curly brackets like this, so curly brackets like this. Now this is equal as a set. Then this is tuple. And remember, if you have something like this, let's say A colon 1, B colon 2. Remember, this one we call as a dictionary. Those are the points. Therefore, here this one is a tuple. Then 49, which protocol is running the application? Like I told this one previously. TCP UDP runs on the transport layer. IP runs on the IP and ICMP running on the network layer. So therefore, answer is HTTP is the one which is running the application layer. Okay, last one, 50. Let's see how to solve the last question. There are two ways to do this one. A plus A bar into B. Okay, one methodology is actually just forget about this large bar and apply the distributive law. What's the distributive law? This one. A plus BC equals A plus B and A plus C. Use that one. A plus BC, this is distributive law, very important. A plus BC equals A plus B bracket A plus C. When you apply that quantity, you can write A plus A bar and A plus B and then bar. Remember, A plus A bar is 1. That's the complement law. A plus A bar is 1. 1 into something is same thing. A plus B bar. Okay. And when you simplify this on this De Morgan's law, what happened? Addition change to multiplication, bar will be separate. So bar will be separate. That is A bar and B bar. So the answer is 6 bar. So that's the easy way to do it. So those are the answers for the next 50 question. Now, first 30 question we discussed in the last week, and I have shared that recording. Now this is the next question, and I have shared another paper. Please calculate that paper with both MCQ and essay type, which is very 12 actually. It's not difficult one, easy one. So just complete that paper before come to the next class. So I will discuss that in the next class. Thank you for joining.